Hey guys, it's me, Terri of the Yarnjoy podcast. Welcome to Vlogtober Day 21. Okay, so for today's mini project, following over at Happy Berry Crochet, Laura's her tutorials here on YouTube, I did the little cupcake and I turned it into a backpack buddy. But anyway, I think it turned out really cute. The only thing I did different was she suggested it that you could do sprinkles on the little icing, see? And I did that. I went ahead and I had some little, just some scrap yarn of some purple, and then I used a little bit more of the red for the cherry, and I just put a little random stitches here and there on the part that was supposed to be the icing. And so that's what I did. I thought it looked better that way. So anyway, and like I said, I did make it into a backpack buddy. So try it out. I think you'll enjoy making it. It was real easy to do and fairly quick. So anyway, that's today's project. Okay, now, so on to the trivia questions, the answers from yesterday's trivia questions. Number 1 was Hill Street Blues won a record-breaking 8 Emmy Awards in its first season, a feat later matched by NYPD Blue and ER. Which show finally broke the record? Was it A, Law and Order, B, Ally McBeal, C, The West Wing, or D, 24? And the answer was C, The West Wing. The West Wing won 9 Emmys in its first season. Okay. Number 2 was, what is Mr. Belvedere's full name? Was it Leon Atticus, Leroy Achilles, Lynn Allister, or Lynn Aloysius? And the answer for that one was D, Lynn Aloysius Belvedere. Lynn Aloysius Belvedere was first introduced on screen in the 1948 film Sitting Pretty, where he was played by Clifton Webb. Webb was nominated for a Best Actor Oscar for the role. Okay, and number 3 was the creator of Knight Rider, Glenn A. Larson, was also the creator of which sci-fi show? Was it A, Star Trek, B, Stargate, C, Battlestar Galactica, or D, Farscape? And the answer to that one was C, Battlestar Galactica. Larson also created The Fall Guy and co-created the shows BJ and the Bear, Quincy M.E., and Magnum P.I. Okay, so today's questions, let me get my list here. Okay, so for today's questions, number 1 is true or false. Henry Fonda and Katharine Hepburn appeared in the opening credits of Newhart. Okay, number 2. Which actor stars as Detective James Crockett in Miami Vice? Was it A, Mickey Rourke, B, Don Johnson, C, Nick Nolte, or D, Jeff Bridges? Okay, and so number 3 for today is, what was golfer Arnold Palmer's nickname? Was it A, the Golden Bear, B, the Great White Shark, C, the Hawk, or D, the King? Okay. Okay. So now going on to the question answer section. These are questions that I'm answering that has been put as comments under these videos by my viewers and YouTube friends. So I appreciate you doing that. So let's see. Christine asked me, do you use like a stocking or something when you stuff your amigurumi pieces? So that way the stuffing won't come out. No, I've never done that. I have seen it done. I know Valerie of Old Soul Crochet does that with hers because she uses the blanket yarn, which is the bigger like big bulky weight yarn and a bigger hook, which I have not used. I actually have not used it. No, I have not made the chubby bunny. I want to. She's got some awesome, very cute patterns. I just haven't got to them yet. But no, what I do is I just use a very small hook. I used to use an F hook all the time, which is 3.75 millimeter when I would use worsted weight yarn. And recently, the last several of these patterns, like this one, Benedict here, this is made with worsted weight, but I actually used an E size hook, which is a 3.5 millimeter. And so that's what I've been using. I'll either use the 3.5 millimeter or 3.75 millimeter hook, and I don't usually have a problem with stuffing showing through. I like to stuff my pieces really firm, because I do know over time the stuffing seems to settle, and then they get a lot more squishier. And so I try to really get them firmly stuffed in the beginning, so that way I feel like they'll keep their newness or shape for a longer period of time. But I try not to overstuff them to the point where you can start seeing stuffing. You have to be careful with when you're using black yarn or like navy blue, something like really dark, because usually the stuffing, let's see, my stuffing bag. Usually the stuffing is white. Now I have seen from some people, I think it was Ella of No Catchy Name, she actually had some dark colored stuffing, which I haven't looked into buying that. It would be nice. That would be something nice to have on hand, especially like when I did the love bugs several months ago, and they are basically all black except for some red trim. And so I did have kind of a hard time with the white stuffing showing through. But what I'm doing now is, like, I'm working on a piece right now, which I can't show you because it's a gift, but it's the arms and legs and things are black. And so what I'm doing is I'm using my black scrap yarn. Like, I have a bucket. Let me show you. Like right here, where I have scraps pieces, and I will pull out all the dark navy and black pieces, and I've been using that for stuffing. I had a small ball of black. I just unwound it and kind of wadded it up, and I stuck it in there. And so I try to use that for pieces that I feel like the stuffing's going to be showing through. I've even done that at the top when I'm decreasing down on a piece, and the farther you go in decreasing, sometimes you can see holes at the very top stuffing. And so what I'll do is, before I close it up, the very top of it, when I'm still stuffing, the very top, I will even stuff it with the same color as the yarn I'm using. Like for this one, I think I did, yeah, I did this in the back, because this bear, you decreased it and it ended up in the back right here when you closed it up. And so I actually stuffed the very top of this part with this color brown yarn, so that way that stuffing won't show through. So anyway, that's my lesson for today on that. It works well for me, and I haven't had a need to use stockings. Now, like I said, if I use the blanket yarn, I may have to do that. Whenever I make something with the blanket yarn that's an amigurumi, then I may end up having to use a stocking. But anyway, I haven't so far. Okay, that was a big answer to that question. Okay, next question. Jackie of Hooking in Good Company, she asked me what is the best size for baby blanket, newborn, child, different sizes. Well, for newborn, I usually I think a basic size for a newborn is 36 inches by 36 inches if it's a square, so 3 feet square. So of course for a child it would be larger than that. But I will go through and find a link to a chart, a really good size chart that I like to use, and I will post that in the description box below, because it has multiple sizes, even up to different bed sizes, and what's the measurements, the length and width of for that, like crib size, newborn size, toddler size, teen size blanket, and then even like a twin size bed, you know, like that. So I think it's very good information to have, and so I will find it and I'll put a link to it in the description box below. Okay. Okay, next question. Mel Hartley asked me if I'd ever do an amigurumi crochet along. Yeah, I'd do one, but if it's, the only thing about it, if it's not my pattern, I would have to get permission from the designer. So if any of you designers out there want a tutorial made out of your amigurumi patterns, let me know, and I will see what I can do and work with you. I would love doing that. I just need, like I said, I'd have to have permission from the designer in order to do that. You know, I don't feel comfortable, even if it was a free pattern, I don't feel comfortable doing a tutorial on it because it's not my pattern. So, see, that's one of my goals, is I need to start designing amigurumis or, you know, other patterns, and I just haven't got there yet. I'm working on trying to get there, but I haven't got there. I'm not at that point yet. So, okay. Next question was about the Mario corner to corner blanket. I will pop in a picture here so then you can see what I'm talking about. So the Mario corner to corner blanket, Tina Jeffrey asked me if I had graphs for all of those squares that I did for that blanket, and where do I get them. So what I did is I went to Pinterest and I searched perler bead Mario patterns, or perler bead something. Perler bead Mario squares, I believe. And I will put a link in the description box below of where I found a lot of them, and then you know how Pinterest is. You get on one and then it kind of links you to all these other ones. But so what you're doing is, what I did is I found the squares I wanted to do, but they had to be the same size squares. Like I think they were 25 square by 25 square charts. So that way I knew that the squares would turn out the same size. Okay. The first one I did, it was like that. And so I will put a link to that in the description box below. And like I said, it were free charts, and I just printed them out, and then I used them. I either printed them out or I got graph paper for some of them, and I just copied them, you know, onto the graph paper myself, and then I used that as the guide for my corner. But they were free charts, so I didn't want to take somebody's that that were copyrighted or anything. And I didn't sell the blanket. I know these are licensed characters. I didn't sell the blanket. I just did them for my son, well, both my sons, because I did 2 of them, but I gave them as gifts. And so even the Frozen blanket I know that is a licensed Disney character, and I got the chart, which it was a free chart. I don't remember where I got it from. It was off of Pinterest also. But anyway, I did the blanket and then I gave it as a gift. I didn't sell it. So, okay, Lori Gray was asking me, had a question about the deer blanket that I'm working on. This is the book. She bought the pattern book, and it's the pattern I got out of this book called Wildlife Cable Afghans, and I will put a link below in the description box on where I got this. I know you can get it from Amazon, and I will put a link to that there. But I've seen it in some of the craft stores as well. But I will put a link to the Amazon place where you can get it on Amazon. Anyway, she was asking about the deer blanket because I'm making it. Here is my progress. I've done the center panel. Okay, and so she was asking me, let's see if I can see what it says. She said she bought the book, and she says, I want to do a corner to corner instead of doing the horizontal graph like that. She wanted to use the chart, which I will show you just a piece of it because it's copyrighted. See, yeah, it's little squares making the chart. Okay, well, she wanted to do that in corner to corner. Okay, and so she was wanting to know, but because she wants it to be a blanket to fit her dad's bed. Okay, so I measured mine, and I will tell you that the image is 75 little squares across the width. Okay, and that's what I did here, which, since it's single stitches, it's 75 stitches across. Okay, I measured it, and mine turned out to be roughly about 19 inches. Now, when you do corner to corner, remember that, unless you're doing the mini corner to corner, but if you're doing the full, which she wouldn't if she wants to make it bed size, she would do the basic corner to corner stitch. So each of those little squares on the chart is going to be 3 stitches, 3 double crochet stitches. And so I would think you would do, well, it depends on your tension. So what you can figure out if you think it's going to be big enough, or you may want to make it and then put stuff around it, like big border panels or something if you need to enlarge it either direction. But I would do it where I would make a little swatch, okay, of that yarn and the hook you're going to use until you've got a little corner to corner swatch, which it'd be a little triangle, and it would be 5 squares across and 5 blocks, up squares, and then measure how wide that is. And so that way well, every one of those 5 squares is going to be, I don't know, say it's an inch, Anyway, so that means that would be 5 inches. Well, if there's 75 squares, then you would do that 5 inches times 15, which would make 75. And then that would kind of roughly tell you how many inches wide that piece would be. That way you can adjust your hook size. If you think you need to go up a hook size or multiple hook sizes to get it wider, or if it's too big, then you can go down hook sizes. You can adjust it that way. So that would be my suggestion. But yes, I think you could do it corner to corner and it would look awesome. I don't think it would distort the image or anything. I think it would look great. So try it out and see. I'd love to see a picture of it once you get it done. If you're a member of our Facebook group, Yarnjoy Podcast, Lori, come on over there and join if you're not, and so that way you can post pictures of what you're working on. I would love to see it. Okay. So one more question right quick. Linda House asked me if circumstances were different, if I would have had more children. I think so. I came from a family of 3 children, and my husband also there was 3 children in his family. So if my sons hadn't been right at 12 years apart, it's just the way it worked out, then I'm sure probably we might have had 3, maybe, we might have had another one in there. So, it wasn't on my mind that, yes, I'm going to have 2 children and that's it. But that's just the way, that's just what the Lord blessed us with. And so he knows best. So anyway, okay, so thanks everybody for the questions that you've been sending me so I can answer them in this Q&A, and please keep the questions coming. Thanks for coming by to visit today on this Vlogtober Day 21, and come back tomorrow and we'll have another visit for Vlogtober 22. Bye guys.